Hello, happy Thursday. Hope everybody's doing good. I'm doing pretty good today. So, what we are going to do tonight is play with the Nested Friends stamp set. And I know I have the Christmas paper, but I had packed some stuff for my class the other night and I did not unpack it yet. Hey, Dale, how are you? Sorry I missed your, hey, Fran. Hey, Karen. Sorry I missed your message, Dale. So that is the stamp set we're going to be playing with, the Nested Friends. I'm also pulling in, and I didn't even really pack them up really well. I'm using the dies from Natural Prints. You'll notice I have the wreath, that's the Natural Prints, and on this card here, these little sprigs are the natural prints. Plus, I am using the loose daisy embellishments, and this goes to, help me out here a second, the rainy days with the cute little animals. So that's what we're playing with tonight. And then I made the card and I made the little box. Hey, Kathy. Thank you so much. I actually have it stuffed with mini eggs. Perfect for the little bird eggs. And I was going to have the flap on the outside, but I decided to tuck it in on the inside. So it's just a cute little box. Yeah, those eggs are the best, aren't they? So we'll start with this card here tonight. I hope everybody's doing good. It was a beautiful 68 degrees here in Pennsylvania. Oh my goodness. The weather was just amazing. And I'm sorry, Karen, because you probably have snow, but we had 68 degrees. How crazy is that? And just while I'm thinking about it, I thought I stamped this little flower. I'm just going to stamp it again. All right. So like I said, I'm going to just change this up a little bit. Of course. What else is new? That's what I always do, right? So we're starting with a basic white layer that is 8.5 by 5.5. And I scored it at 4 1/4. And we're going to do this portrait. And we are going to layer it with a layer of, and I want to make sure I have the correct one, some crumb cake. And the crumb cake is 5 1/4 by 4. I wanted some of that white card base. Ice and sleet, yes. That's what I thought. And here it was 68. It was just amazing. 16 right now. Oh my goodness. Close to 60 in Ohio. Wow. Low 30s tomorrow. The weather is insane. It really honestly is. I mean, like I said, we had 68, and north of us is in the middle of a snowstorm. How crazy is that? All right. So we're going to start with some crumb cake. And like I said, this is 5 1/4 by 4. And then we're going to layer it up. Now, this is the Day at the Farm DSP. As you can see, the cute little animals on this side. But I wanted this side. And you'll notice on this card, I put it on the top. And I put the basket weave on the bottom. Tonight, I'm going to switch it the other way around. I'm going to put the cane weave at the top. And I'm going to put the DSP at the bottom. Okay? And before I do that, I want to just grab my crumb cake, and I just want to make sure I have the right size. So these are 5 by 2, and this one should be 5 by 2 1/4. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't have a gap. I am going to put a strip of crumb cake, and this should be 5. Just want to make sure before I glue it down. Nope, it's a little long. Let me just trim it. All right, so that should fit right across. So what we're going to do is grab our glue, and I think I have to open a new one. And we're going to glue, whoops, we're going to glue this to the top this time of our crumb cake. And we want to make sure that we have it on here even. And then we're going to do the same thing with the designer series paper. Has anybody had a chance to check out the clearance rack? There are stamp sets in the clearance rack. So you may want to check it out in case there's anything there that suits your fancy, because things don't stay that long in there. So you may want to check it out. Oh my goodness. Thanks, Karen. Oh, I forgot to check and pull a name for the video for last week. I'm going to have to do that after. Today was a crazy day, but what else is new? All right, so now I'm going to put this strip, and it is the wrong one. It is a 1/2 inch, 1/2 by 5. And I'm just doing this again. I'm going to use it right to the last drop to hide that seam. Okay, just going to scoot that over a little bit. So we just want to hide that seam. I want to make sure it's on here straight. And then I am going to take a length of the Pool Party sheer ribbon, and we're going to just wrap this with a glue dot, some glue dots. You know me, so I don't have to tell you. I cheat. And I'm just going to lay this right down along this crumb cake. Gives it a little color, and it gives it a little sparkle. All right, so that's all we're doing. Just like, how did my hair come out? It actually came out really nice. Hi, Sheila. I naturally went in without really knowing what I wanted, because I'm usually not happy when I come out after getting my hair done. They usually never do it the way I ask. I've always had very long, thick hair, and it is heavy, so I can't really get anything that needs to be fluffy or have height, or I just can't do it because my hair flops. But she did really cut it nicely, and it turned out pretty good. I even told her it's the first time I left from having my hair cut that I actually like it. All right, I'm just trying to get this on here straight. I think I didn't really get it on too straight. All right, so I do like it better with the cane on the top. Okay, so we're just going to sit that aside. Next, I took, believe it or not, some Bermuda Bay, and I die cut a 3-inch scallop circle. Okay, so just to add a little bit of different color. So we're going to add some dimensionals to this. And I don't know where my pokey tool is. I don't think I unpacked it yet. And we're going to pull our card in. And I am going to offset this just up a little bit. Just like that. And I want to make sure it is stuck because it's not really much to catch on the cane. I also, like I said, die cut this wreath from the Natural Prints dies. Print. And that is the dies that go with this stamp set. Nature's Prints. Okay? And I just die cut it in basic white. And then I also die cut a basic white circle measuring 2 7/8 of an inch. So before we get into that, we're going to glue this to the Bermuda Bay. And all I'm going to do is add a bit of glue to the inside pieces. I don't want to squirt out too much, but I'm just doing it around the inside so it catches that circle. Okay. And then we're just going to lay it down just like that. It's a pretty little wreath, right? 79 in Georgia today? Wow. That's crazy. I thought 68 was great. All right. So we're going to put that aside for a second, and we're going to pull in our circle. Let me just grab a piece of scrap paper so I don't make a mess. All right. So we have a piece of scrap. I am going to pull in the really cute little bird's nest. Let me sit this on here straight. And I'm also going to pull in my crumb cake stamp pad. So we're going to ink this up. Now you'll notice on this card that I put it down towards the bottom. Tonight, I'm going to shift it up a little bit because there's just too much white space here. All right. So I'm going to just ink up, and I'm going to move it up just like this and give it a good stamp. Thankfully, it's a circle, so I can turn it. So that looks really nice. Much less space right here at the top. Hi, Louise. How are you? I hear you, Sheila. I'm afraid to see what March is going to bring. It's probably going to We'll probably have a snowstorm. I'm just looking. I only have one egg. Oh, I know where the other one is. And it's not here. All right. So also with the Nested Friends dies, there is a really cute nest that goes right over top of this. Okay. And what we're going to do is, again, we're just going to add a little bit of glue. Just going to dot it around. I don't really want too much, but I do want it to stick to the front of the card. And I'm not going to do every little piece. I do want some sticking up. And we're going to just line up this center hole with the hole right there on the stamped piece and lay it down. Now I did have more eggs cut, but I don't know what happened to it. So we're just going to add just this one. I'm just going to tuck it in to that nest. Then I'm going to take some crumb cake again, and I'm going to use the branch and stamp and die cut with the coordinating die, and this is what we get. It's a really cute little branch. 89 in Daytona. Oh my goodness. Oh, I'm sorry, Fran. All right, so let me grab my disgusting sticky stink scissors. We are going to cut a strip, and I'm gonna have to clean these scissors because this branch is pretty thin, and you won't notice it too much, but I stuck it actually behind this circle. Tonight I'm gonna pull it forward. I want you to be able to see this branch. So I am just going to take my strip. I'm going to add it to the center, your center left to right. And we're going to add this right here. So now it looks like that nest is sitting right on the branch. Okay. Then we have the little bird. And all I'm going to do is grab some Bermuda Bay. So I'm pulling that Bermuda Bay from the circle. And we're going to give him a stamp. Die cut him with the coordinating die. And we get this sweet little bird. I'm just going to grab some dark daffodil delight and add it to his beak. And I'm going to leave that bird just like that. He's really pretty. So let's grab a dimensional. And as I always say, if you're going to use your blends, do you see how it bleeds through? Make sure you have something on your table just in case. And we're going to sit this little bird right here on that branch. Now in the nested friend dies, there are several dies for little leaves, just like this. So I cut out several from the soft sea foam so we could add a bit of color to the leaves. Let's get rid of this. I'm going to move this scrap piece out for a second If you could see my desk right now, oh my goodness. And we are going to add a leaf here at the end. We're going to add one down here. I don't want this to, there we go. And I put my bird over here. So let's put one here. And you want to look at your leaves because there is a right side and a wrong side. So we're going to stick this one here. I'm going to stick a smaller one over here. So tonight before I came in here, oh wow, you did order this one. This is a cute one. I wasn't sure what I was going to do tonight. And then I was like, oh, let's do some birds. Spring is in the air. I know it's going to be a disappointment because it's not going to last. So we'll take advantage of this spring weather. All right, so all I wanted to do was add some color with some leaves. Okay, so that's not, you can't even tell that it's soft sea foam. I'm just going to scoot this down a little bit. Now with these extra two that I have, I'm actually going to just put a dot here just to fill in, again, some white space. I don't like white space. And we're going to just add these leaves right to the top of this circle. Whoops. Let's put one this way. So it just adds a bit of color to the top. And now we can pull in our card. And we're going to actually turn this over. And we're going to add some glue. And we're going to offset it just so we can see some of the Bermuda Bay. I want to make sure I have this on straight. Yep, that's not bad. And now that I have the branch up here, I am going to tie my ribbon. Oh my. I didn't even unpack my ribbon scissors. How crazy is that? I'm going to switch up and I'm going to put the bow on the right hand side. Because on the left now we have that branch with the leaves. So it's safe now that I can put it on the right hand side just to take up some of that dead area. So I have a quick little bow. I'm going to cut my tail. So like I said, before I came in, I have been watching New Amsterdam, but I went and had my hair done and Bill was up, so we started watching the Murdaugh trial. Today's. We've been watching bits and pieces, but I wanted to see his testimony. So before I came in here tonight, he was being grilled by the prosecutor. Very interesting case for sure. All right, so I am going to stick this bow right over here. So this time it's on the right instead of the left. Just want to fix those just like that. And then I'm going to grab some champagne gems and add some to the front of the card. Let's add one right here. Whoops. Just to add some sparkle. Come on, stinker. And let's add one right up here. And then I'll just put one down here. So there is our first card. Little bit of gems on there and some color that's a little bit different. Thank you so much, AK. You're fine, honey. All right, so for the inside, of course, we're going to bring in that little bird, that branch, and we're going to stamp our sentiment. And our sentiment says, best friends make the good times better and the hard times easier. That's for sure. And we are going to stamp it with some crumb cake. Hopefully I'll get this on here straight. So we'll hope for the best. So let's ink up. And I'm hoping that my sticker is on good. So I'm just going to line it up with the bottom and pull it up and stamp. Not bad. Now the Stamparatus would be perfect for that. But having the sticker on the back certainly helps. All right. Excuse me. Now I'm going to grab the branch. And this is again crumb cake. And we're just going to stamp this right about here. And then we're going to grab our, oh, it's right here in front of me, our Bermuda Bay. I'm going to close this one up. And we're going to grab that little bird. And we're going to guesstimate where his little feet are. And we're going to just add him right there on the inside of the card. Now, mind you, again, I didn't, like I said, I did not unpack. So I don't even have my seal. How bad am I? I'm just burnt out. All right, so we're just gonna, I added a little bit of glue. Hopefully we will not see it through the layer. And it should be 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 is the crumb cake. And the basic white is 5 1/4 by 4. And I will have a PDF for these cards tomorrow. It probably will be later in the day because tomorrow morning we have to go for blood work and old Bill's tests for his procedure next week. All right, so there is our first card, and I'm actually very glad I pulled the nest up. I like it so much better, and I'm glad that I switched the DSP and the cane weave. I really do like it a whole bunch, much better. So there is card number 1. Hey, Dawn. Thanks, Kay. So card number 2, where is that little stinker? I figured, okay, we need to make a card that looks like a birdhouse. So I have a basic white, let me just get this stuff out, basic white card base. And I cut it our normal 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Okay, so we're just going to get this edge. Then what I did was I marked the top at the halfway point, which should be what? 2 1/8. And then I marked from the bottom up 3¼ I believe it was. 3½. So I marked it 3½ on each side, 2 1/8 in the center, and I just lined up these dots on this trimmer, cut off the corner, cut off the corner, and this is what we're left with. Okay, a stray gem. Let's see if we can get this out of here. All right, so we're left with our birdhouse template. So now I want to layer it up. So I grabbed a Bermuda Bay 5¼ by 4, and I'll have to tell you it is not perfect, but this is measured. It should be 3¼ 3¼ from the bottom, and I did the same thing, marked it 3¼ 3¼ and then cut it off. Okay. Hey, Elizabeth. And then I did the same thing with the DSP. And like I said, believe me, it is not perfect. But all I really want is for this bottom piece and here to be pretty straight, because we're going to hide this up here with these pieces. These are from this scallop contour, and I die cut the larger frame, and this measures 1 inch wide. Okay, so it's 1 inch from this edge to this edge. I wanted to make a little roof. I'll just take out these little pieces. This is the same size, 1 inch, and it is the largest of the frames. So before we even tackle that, we're going to glue this down to the Bermuda Bay. And like I said, I want to make sure that the bottom piece here, these sides, whoops, let's just scoot that down a little, that this bottom and these sides are pretty even. I'm not really worried about the top. We're going to grab these, and I want this to, you'll notice on these dies that you have a little bit of a ridge here. I want that ridge right at the end. So where this corner is where I'm going to line up the ridge and go right up this piece. Okay, so let's add some glue. Line up that ridge and go right up that peak. So we're hiding the area up here. Now when we turn it over, we'll notice that it hangs over here. So we're going to trim that off. And then we want to trim this off at the top. So there is our one side. One side of our roof. Hey, Pam, thank you. We're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. We're going to line that ridge up with this point, and then we're going to bring it up to the top. But what I want to do is I want to put a little mark there, And I want to cut this at an angle. And I just want to make sure that it would be right. I want to cut it from that point down. We're not really going to see it. So let's cut this off, because we're going to hide it with that flower. So let's add our glue. That little indent on the die is going to go right on this corner. There's going to be some overhang. And then we're going to just line it up right with the edge. And turn it over and trim off the excess. So there we have our birdhouse. Now this stamp is from the Nature's Prints. It's this flower right here. And I thought I had fussy cut one. And I stamped it in Daffodil Delight. And I am just going to, I'm sure there's a die for this, but I am just going to fussy cut this flower out, because I only want the flower head. I don't want the stem, because I want to hide this seam at the top of the birdhouse. We don't really want that seam there. So I was like, all right, what should we put up here? Flower is the perfect solution. So we got our fussy cut flower. And I also die cut some sprigs with Pear Pizzazz. And this is from the, what did I say, natural? The Natural Prints dies. And I'm just going to cut off this end piece here. And those two bottom leaves. And I'm just going to add glue to the bottom of this piece and glue it to the peak of our birdhouse. Just like that. We're going to grab our flower. And let's grab a dimensional. And we're going to pop this little flower right up onto the front of the card. But before we do that, you'll notice I did some more little leaves in in soft seafoam. So let's add a little bit of glue, because I want to stick it to the back of this flower. So I added some glue. I just want it to stick to the back of this flower. And then we're going to do the same thing on this one. A little bit of glue. I'm just going to push it down. But I got glue on my table, right? Yep. All right, let's see what I can do here. They're so tiny. All right, so there we go. I just wanted a little bit of color on the back of these flowers. And then we're going to grab our champagne rhinestones. And we're going to put one right in the center. Pull off the paper. And add our flower right here to the top. So let's now pull in our card base We can add some glue and add this to the front of our card. I'm going to have to trim this just a little as I cut it crooked. I'm just going to trim this one side. Hold on one second. Sometimes it's just what we have to do. All right. So there is our birdhouse front. I die cut a circle in crumb cake, 1.5, and then I cut one in white, and it's about 1.25. I have some more sprigs from the natural prints. I think I cut too many. Oh, I cut a branch and stamped and cut a branch. And then I have a double oval. I need the second one. And then we have our little bird. And then I do have just a couple more leaves left. Can you believe I didn't lose my little leaves? Hi, Andrea. Thank you, honey. Shooting off fireworks. Oh, my goodness. Thanks, Kathy. So we're going to just put that aside for a second. We're going to pull in our circle. And I am going to grab my Bermuda Bay and our little bird. And I really just want his head on that circle. Just like he's in that birdhouse and he's peeking out. We can add some glue. And just set our bird down right in the center. And we'll let that dry. So now we're going to work on the front. I'm just going to grab my sprigs, and before we even get that centerpiece on, I'm just going to add some glue to the bottom. And we know the circle's going to be right around here. So we're just going to add our sprigs, using this as our center focal. And we'll add one more. Just about here. All right. Let's grab our branch. And again, we're going to take my nasty scissors. And we are going to cut a thin, these are my sticky scissors. I do all my dimensionals or sticky paper with those scissors. They need a good cleaning. And we're going to lay this on a nice strip of dimensionals. I could use the dimensional strips, but as I've said before, they are a little bit, the depth of them are a little bigger than dimensionals. And we're just going to lay this branch down here at the bottom. We can pull in our little bird. I have some mini dimensionals here. Let's do these. We're just going to add some dimensionals to this little bird. Oops, let's get rid of this mess. And let's just center this bird right over these ends. just like that. So that little bird is peeking. Yes, it does. It is. I started with a 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4, and then cut off the corners. And I will have a PDF for you tomorrow. So now I'm just going to pull in these loose daisies. I don't want to open it the wrong way, so let me just make sure. That'd be a heck of a note, wouldn't it? And I am just going to add one here. I'm going to put one here and one here. And I'm going to actually use the picky tool so I can pick them up. Just add a few little flowers. Let's grab a smaller one. Just like that. Almost matches this top one. And we're going to grab our little bird. Now our bird needs to be up on a dimensional because the branch is on a dimensional. So let's just grab one of these mini dimensionals. And then I'm going to add just a bit of glue on his tail. I don't know what section's going to catch, but we know his feet have to be on the branch. Just like that. And then we're going to tie a quick bow. Sorry, I got distracted. Somebody's outside pulling their garbage pails in. Today was garbage day. So I'm listening to the garbage pail. All right, so then we have our quick little bow. So while we're thinking about it, we're at the end of February already. Can you believe it? And celebration will be coming to an end at the end of February. So if there's anything in that celebration catalog that you really were interested in or you wanted to take advantage of, you better do it before the end of the month. And just as a reminder, there's 3 different options to join Stampin' Up! This month. $99 gets you $175 worth of product. $129 gets you $175 worth of product, but it also gets you one of the mini cut and emboss machines. And just so you know, if you were on my team, either as just because you want to save money on your craft supplies or to build a business, you have access to all my PDFs that I do for absolutely free. Oh, I'm not going to put it there. If you wanted a blog, I would do that for you for free. I usually charge $200. I have a Patreon group that if you wanted to see my coloring videos, you would have access to those just by asking. So you do have other benefits that I include when you join my team. It's just a thank you for joining my team. And like I said, whether you're a business builder, or a hobby demonstrator. I'm just putting the dimensionals here on the card. It's for the sentiment. But I need to pull in a strip of basic white and our crumb cake. And our stamp that says birthday wishes. Oops. There I go, rocking again. I gotta remember just to go straight down. And then we're gonna grab our punch. Make sure our sentiment is straight. Give it a punch. Pull our card back in. Let's pull off these little papers. And let's stick this sentiment. We're going to cover that branch. Gotta make sure it's on here straight. And then add our birthday wishes to the center. Want to make sure it's on there straight. And then we're going to grab our rhinestones again. And we're going to put one on this end. And whoops, that one is off the glue dot. And one on that side. And I see a piece of hair. There we go. So there is, and of course it shifted. There is the front of our second card. All right. Now, believe it or not, hello, happy Thursday. Oh, that's a good idea. Hey, Betty. Now, believe it or not, look, I didn't do the inside of the card. But I did cut for tonight's card. So I did the same exact thing. I started with 5 1/4 by 4. I measured up. Let's just check. I measured up 3 1/4 halfway across the top and cut it at an angle, lining up the dots. So for the inside, let's just do it again. We've got our birds and we've got the branch. We could always, actually, you know what? Let's grab the nest. So when we open up this birdhouse, and I'm not going to do the whole thing. Let's see. We'll bring it up about this far and give it a stamp. So the inside of this card has the bird nest. So we're just going to use a little bit of glue so we don't see it through. Always makes me nervous. I don't want to see that. And then we can pull in our card. And glue it to the inside. Okay, so there is card number 2. Just gotta move this up a tad. Thanks, Sheila. Thank you so much. All right, so now we have this cute little bird. And like I said, if you're joining us late, what would be perfect for this cute little bird but mini Cadbury eggs? And again, I was going to use this flap on the outside, but decided to tuck it in. So we're using basic white. I'm going to grab my ruler. It is 4 1/4 by 6 1/2. I scored it at 5/8. Let's do it here. 5/8 and 3 5/8. And then I turned it and I scored it at 2 1/8, 2 3/4, 4 7/8, and 5 1/2. And I will have a PDF for this. This will be on the PDF also. So before we do anything, let's fold and burnish all our score lines. I want them to be nice and crisp lines all the way around. Okay? Then what we're going to do is create our tabs. So I'm just going to grab my scissors. And I am going to cut, so I'm cutting on the left-hand side of the score line. And then I am angling this tab. I'm going to cut on the right-hand side of this score line. And then I am going to angle this side of the tab. This way I am cutting the score line out. Let's turn it around. We're going to do the same thing. To the left of the score line, and then at an angle. To the right of the score line, and then on an angle. So our tab now has angles. Then we're going to jump to the top, and we're going to cut to the right of the score line, and then we're going to cut to the left of the score line, and we're going to take out these two scored sections. Same on this side. Right of the score line, these two boxes, and then to the left of the score line to cut them completely out. Now I didn't want this flap to just have a plain squared edge. So you can either use your corner round, or I use this old stamp punch to give the corner just a little decoration. I just want to make sure it's in there good. All right. So there's our flap. If you wanted to use the flap out, you're more than, you can do that, okay? So when this gets folded, here's the top. So here is the front of the box. This will be the top. This will be the bottom. So here's the top. I'm going to layer it with some Bermuda Bay. And this measures 2 7/8 by 2. And I'm going to add this to it now. This way, it'll be easier to adhere and get it to stick. So we're just going to lay that right on the front of the box. And then I have a piece of basic white that I ran through with the cane weave embossing folder, 2 3/4 by 1 7/8. And we're going to add some glue. And then we're going to just layer that right on top of the Bermuda Bay. Make sure it's sticking. And then we have our nest. And I didn't even take out all the little pieces that makes this look so pretty. It die cut very nicely, even with all these tiny little pieces. I was very, very happy the way it cut. Those eggs are your weakness? Yeah, they are yummy. I have to admit, I had 2 bags, but I only have one now. I, I ended up eating the other bag while I was making the other box. So there you have it. Candy and chocolate is my weakness. If I could live on candy and chocolate chip cookies, I'd be good to go. When it comes to regular food, the only thing that gets my fancy is chicken. Anything else I can do without. All right, so I added some glue to the back of this little nest. And then I do have one little egg. So I'm just going to add a dot of glue, and I'm going to tuck it inside that nest, okay? And we are going to leave it like that for the moment. So now I'm going to add some glue to the tabs. You may want to use some seal or tear and tape. Now this is the front of the box, so we want this tab to go in last. We want to glue that down last. So we're going to glue this tab to the back. Okay? So we're going to just add that tab. This is the back of the box to the side. Same on this side. We're going to add it to that back flap. I got to hold it for a second because I put a lot of glue. And you want to make sure that it's on there straight, so it's nice and square. And then we have our flaps to the front of the box. So we're going to add some glue here. And again, you can use tear and tape or seal. And we're going to adhere those now to the side of the box, so we don't see any seams on the front of the box. It's the only reason why I glued these down last, so you don't see those seams. All right, then you would fill it and then just tuck that right in. I already have my little bird. I'm going to grab some dimensionals again. Let's add some dimensionals to the back. And we're going to add this little bird to the nest. And then we're just going to grab one more length of ribbon and tie a bow. I know I missed Sunday's video. Thanks, Elizabeth. Candy and chocolate. But I was so burnt out on Sunday and I had so many things to do. I think I have caretaker burnout, and I just couldn't do it. So I knew something had to give, and that was the easiest thing and the smartest thing to give up on for that day. But I will be back on this Sunday, because I have the next week is going to be crazy busy. Bill goes in the hospital on Wednesday, and we'll have to see what happens. Oops. All right. So there's our sweet little box. And here's our birdhouse. And then here is our next card. So just something, I'm going to move this up a little. Different colors and just something a little different with these sweet little birds. Thanks, Fran. So watch for the PDF tomorrow. I'll let you know when it's ready. And if you have bad weather out there, please be careful. And thanks, Sheila. Thanks. Thanks for everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. I do appreciate it. And I will see everybody on Sunday. Be safe, stay warm, and I'll talk to you soon. You're welcome. Bye-bye.